Hello.
Welcome back, everybody. We're doing a virtual tasting for Old North State Winery. We do it here in person every Thursday. We taste 4 wines from around the world. Chef creates little hors d'oeuvres to help you pair with the wines, and we discuss the wines, and we have a really good time.
It's always fun.
And we discover wines that maybe you wouldn't normally have on your radar, and it's a lot of fun. We got another big crowd coming out this Thursday, but for those of you that are not quite ready to join us, or if it just doesn't fit into your schedule, you can come and join us by picking up your 2 bottles of wine and drinking them with this video at your leisure. So you could probably be just about anywhere and watch this.
I mean, if that's the beauty of technology, you can just enjoy this virtual tasting at your place of your time and choosing. It's wonderful.
And also, the main thing is it gives Chris and I a chance to sit down and drink wine.
And that's really what an important reason when you think about the big scheme of things.
Yes. And so, we'll go 2 reds today, Chef.
Music to my ears. Although as warm as it is, a nice white would have been okay. But
Yeah, well, we're gonna have 2 nice whites here in person for the Thursday night, but this is the 2 reds that we're gonna be serving. And
they look terrific.
well, this one's a really, really special wine in my opinion. The once thought to be extinct grape Carmenere. So, well, let's see how we can do this. So, give it a Inama, they do wonderful. We use their 20th anniversary cab at the chef's table. They make really pretty wines from the northern part of Italy, and their Suave is real. They're really known for their all the varieties. Really, they're really diverse in their portfolio. And Carmenere, which was thought to be extinct, they did not replant it in Bordeaux after phylloxera. It was one of the 6 red grapes approved for Bordeaux. It was actually, they even called that one of the names for this grape was Médoc, because that's where it was most planted. And after phylloxera, they just did not replant. They mainly focused on, of course, Cab Franc, Merlot, and a little Petit Verdot. So Carmenere was once thought to be lost, and a French biologist, I believe he was a biologist, was in Chile and discovered that their Merlot vines didn't look like Merlot vines. And with now, of course, in the mid-90s, we were getting into DNA finally, and we've discovered a lot of things through DNA. We also discovered something in the wine world, that these Merlot vines were actually Carmenere that were planted before phylloxera. So these vines were thriving in Chile, thank God, and no one knew it. So Carmenere, which was labeled as Merlot all the time leading up to the mid-90s, and then this discovery that Carmenere is living beautifully down in Chile immediately piqued the interest of this winery in Italy, because they wanted something, something other than the Valpolicella, something to offer other than the Corvina grape in their neck of the woods. And so this was something that was extremely experimental in Italy to bring this vine back into Italy. And since, I think around 2002 to 2005, right in that ballpark, they have been producing, when I say producing, I mean bottling Carmenere. So they planted vines in them really right away as soon as they found out, but didn't really start bottling until maybe 6-7 years after. And lucky for us, we get another wonderful grape kind of resurrected. We've talked about this many times here in person and at the chef's table about how we like to support people that are doing more than just selling wine. They're doing something, they're leaving a legacy behind. And I think by starting this, this grape will catch on in northern Italy, I believe.
Oh, absolutely, and just the rich heritage of both of these regions certainly is going to appeal to a vast majority of wine drinkers and folks who are invested in the history and the future of their countries. Very important matters that are bigger than the juice itself.
Absolutely, and of course we've done a lot of Chilean Carmenere. It's kind of their, official grape. They've really owned it, and it does have a very Chilean, just like all Chilean.
Just
wines.
like Chilean, you get a little green, you get a little bit of
Yeah.
the terroir there. I mean, it's still the soil has made its statement.
Right, and so now this is really great for contrast, that you can taste this grape that you really don't find anywhere else in the world other than Chile. And now you get to taste it and see what it tastes like from Italy, which I always find Italian wines taste very Italian. So you got two of the most.
So they're going to put their stamp on this.
Right. To me, it's like when it comes to blind tastings, Italy and Chile, for me, stand out the
Yeah, a
most.
little easier to
Yeah.
pop them out on a blind tasting because their characteristics are so distinct. It is a fascinating thing about their soil. It's not that other regions don't have their own distinct flavor profiles, but they really do separate themselves.
Yes, absolutely. And so you still have a very Carmenere flavor here, but you don't get those kind of over the top green notes, and I always get like a little bit of like cherry or not cherry, cheddar, like dairy cheesy kind of thing from Chilean reds. And that is not on this.
That's not on this,
You get a lot. I get a lot of pepper. Do you get a lot of pepper?
I do. I am getting some pepper on this, and it is very much Italian. I think it's a bit more rounded than some of most of the Carmeneres I've had from Chile.
Yeah.
But I think that's just, I just love
Bone dry.
Love Italian wine. So
Really, really dry here. This was harvested in probably February of 2019. And so we've got a little bit of age here, just enough to kind of soften it. So it's
is
more,
soft.
I would say it's kind of plush, maybe.
Yes, I think it's very, very pillowy. It's not, and I want this to be a compliment, intimidating.
Sure.
This is a very nice, pillowy, round wine that is just a joy to drink. And, this is really nice.
I can see why, this would have been a great part of the Bordeaux blends. It kind of
The
reminds me of,
softening of the big edges of those big varietals.
then kind of those Cab Franc-like characteristics as well.
Very much so. Very much so.
So anyway, this grape, I believe if you taste this style, I think that there's a great future for it in Italy. It's going to take a long time for that to catch on. And, there's a reason why they didn't replant in France, because it's a difficult grape to grow in certain conditions. Now, it needs really dry. It doesn't do well with too much moisture. So if that is the case, I could see why, it's hard. It was hard for them in Bordeaux it was a lot more work for the yield, I would say.
For the yield, and especially for, a blending grape.
Right.
To spend that much time and care on something that's going to round out your wine, not drive it.
Right.
Where in Chile, you got to water it. You can't. It loves those dry conditions. But in northern Italy, it's pretty.
Certainly can be.
Yeah, I'm thinking there are little storms, but it's not a very harsh environment in terms of humidity or rain, for the most part.
What was I going to say? This is kind of like, it does have. I want to say that it does have 15% Merlot in it, and it's Old Vine Merlot, and that is also to help soften it. So, this can be a bit of a wild grape, a little, unruly, and I think that little addition of Merlot the idea is to help soften that, temper it maybe. But
certainly gives it some weight.
Yeah, absolutely. And so by law, for you to put a single varietal and not list the other blends, is it has to be 85% or more, and that's exactly what this is. So they can just call it straight out Carmenere, but the producer will let you know that there is 15% Merlot. And you know, considering those two grapes were confused for one another for 100 years,
It makes
in Chile,
sense.
it's
Yeah.
not a big stretch to blend those two, and that's usually how it was being done. They were grown to, Merlot and Carmenere were grown together and just treated all as
All the
Merlot.
same, yeah.
And so, you know, with Chile's unique terroir presence in their grapes, it would be really easy to not identify the grape, because all the wines in Chile taste like Chile, and so they wouldn't necessarily taste like they did in France. So that's how it kind of slips.
It makes
through the
perfect sense, you know, it
Yeah.
makes perfect sense, and you know, and also I would imagine, you know, not being, this is a big assumption, but you know, the Chilean farmers for the most part probably weren't, you know, super dialed in to all these Bordeaux varietals and
Right.
how they look and grow. They were just so happy to get these
Sure.
these
Yeah.
vines, and you know, so I would imagine probably wasn't even on their radar to think this isn't what.
Yeah, and
it is.
these vines have been, you know, 100+ years, you know, so you've got people that had never been to France, never seen, you know, and of
Exactly.
course they didn't replant them in France, you couldn't even see them if you were there. So it was a mystery that we didn't know we had, and it was solved at the same time. So, Chef, what do you think about a pairing for this beautiful wine?
Well, we're gonna have a great little chicken lollipop. I've got them brining right now as we're recording this, so we're gonna have a great depth from the brine on that. We're gonna roast those tomorrow for the tastings and our to-goes, and you know, these are from Bell and Evans. You know, really, really high on this producer right now. You know, they've been in the chicken honoring business for 150 years, and I just love these. Of course, great presentation on those too. You get the bone out. It's like a chicken ossobuco, and you get a great presentation on that, and the meat really gets soft, and you get a great presentation on the bone, and I think it's gonna be delicious for this.
That reminds me, Chef, of when I was doing Bud Break, when I was catering from Old Mill, and I did the
Yeah,
chicken
yeah.
ossobuco,
Yeah.
and then that kid that worked
What was
for
that
me
kid?
put all of those
In the back of the truck.
trays in the back of your truck.
And just smashed them one on
Oh,
top
yeah.
of the other, so everything
Yeah,
you know, flies out.
yeah. There was some harsh words spoken that day.
He was a gem.
Yeah. Anyway,
He was an
Just a-
absolute gem. Those are great memories.
just another classic employee.
It took a lot of work. Yeah, I was still finding Coco Van in the crevices for weeks after that.
Oh, Lord, child.
Not to mention, you know, the alley having those, anyway, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
we should have written a book about all this stuff.
yeah, well, I think mainly we're just trying to forget oftentimes. So you don't have to.
I've already forgotten his name. It was like Gary or something. Totally
Well,
forgettable.
I'm not gonna bring up his name, because I know what it is.
Yeah, well, it makes sense you'd remember.
Yeah,
But
I'm scarred.
yeah, he was something.
Yeah, well, Chef, I know you've been up and down the highway, back and forth to see your sweet mom in the hospital in Wilmington, and we're glad to hear that she's back home.
Yeah, we got some good news. We got her back home yesterday and get leveled out per se. And we had a good old-fashioned good scare. And it looks like it's going to be okay. So
Yeah.
we're all relieved, and but yeah, we put a lot of miles on the truck. Got a lot of back and forth, and probably a little too much time to myself to think and all that. But
Well, it kind
yeah,
of
I'm very out of sorts.
probably
you know.
probably forced you to do that. You probably needed it.
I don't know.
You don't have any Chris times.
Well, it just wasn't quality. It wasn't quality Chris time. Yeah, it was a very stressful time.
Right.
I still don't know what day it is. I'm very unsettled. So I've told everybody no one's allowed to fall apart for at least 2 weeks. I get a couple of weeks of,
Yeah.
between all the Megan hospitalizations and Yeah, it's just been one thing after another. It's been a wild month, and so hopefully we'll have a couple of weeks where everything's really boring and quiet. That would be great.
Well, we shall see, right?
Yeah, yes indeed, thank you.
We've also, we had a big election yesterday, and
Many of your regulars.
of our regulars,
Yeah.
yes.
They did
And,
great.
yeah, we had a bunch of first-time people getting into politics, and it was, you know, just a lot of candidates, which is great for this town,
Great.
a lot of options.
Very great.
And, you know, we unfortunately, not all of them got, you know, through the primary election, but several of them did. And actually, Bill Goins, who is for the county. He had a 3-person runoff for the primary for the I guess it's the Republican Party, and when he won that, there is no Democrat
Challenger,
running,
right.
so he's kind of already won.
That was his reelection.
So he'll be the only name on the docket for the November election.
So he only has to vote for himself and he's in.
Yeah, one vote and get him in. So that's great news. And we have several of our regulars that are pushed into the second round of the city elections. And so we have several regulars are running for the seats of the board and also for the mayor.
Yeah, yeah. So
It's gonna be a fun time.
I'm very interested to. I still don't quite understand how all the ward primaries work and how the second rounds work, but I'm sure I'll read up about it.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, it's weird, they have it separated into north and south,
Yeah.
and then they have it at large, but anybody in the city can vote for any of them. So
Yes.
it doesn't like, well, why do you even have a north and a south and the at large and whatever, but anyway, tradition, I guess.
I guess.
But I'm certainly will be hearing more about all of those races. But it's just the fun thing about living in a small town is you know all the candidates, and you actually get to vote on people that you get to, you know, you can ask them questions and hear their philosophies and things of that nature. So
Yeah, it's just a lot of access.
Yeah.
And a lot of genuine conversations. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I think
usually over some wine.
usually over some wine and in an environment where people are for the most part comfortable, and so you don't feel like you're campaigning. You know,
Right.
they're a real person, and it's like
Yeah.
even if I have no idea on many things, but you know, I enjoy voting for people I know, and not necessarily. I don't like single issue voters.
Yeah.
You know, like there's just one issue and like everything else gets thrown out the window. I don't
Right.
care. I don't.
Or
I'm-
vice versa. It could be one that you oppose.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah, I
it
mean,
could be
like you're
one
doing
you're
it because
pro or one that you're con.
Well, that, exactly.
Yeah.
Any way you would do that as a single issue, you know, I like knowing the person. And I always feel, I mean, I vote so fast because I'm so confident when I know the kind of person I'm voting
Absolutely.
for, regardless of this
Absolutely.
issue or that issue. That makes it wonderful.
Yeah, and also, you know, there's another, you know, there's a lot of people who just vote their party and don't know the person. And-
Yeah, that's what I mean,
Yeah,
it's
because there
a
are
straight ticket, off they go.
there are people in each party that I think stand out and, you know, should be, you know, recognized on their own merits, not necessarily their party affiliation.
Especially in a town like Mount Airy where, you know, when you're dealing with city government, you're not really, you know, these national issues
Right.
don't apply.
Right.
You know, I want to know more about economic development and the Greenway and like bringing more people to town, more opportunities, making Mount Airy a better place to live. You know, we have plenty of representatives in Washington, and we, you know, let them handle the federal issues. Let's focus on small,
Yeah.
our problems, our issues that we're in control of at that level of government. And we have other tiers of government to take care of those issues. And I like how the vast majority of the candidates are like that. That they care about Mount Airy. They don't want to sit there and just spew a bunch of nonsense about what we already hear about. That's somebody else's responsibility.
Right.
You know, we have a very elaborate system for attacking all these different issues, and you know.
And also, I don't feel like, you know, the people are taking these positions to go to the next level.
I don't
I
think
mean, I'm
not,
sure
not at all.
I'm sure there's been some cases, but I think generally speaking, most of these people aren't trying to get a career in politics.
No.
They could, certainly, but I don't feel like that's why they're in it.
I don't believe that is the case. I believe they're just trying to make the town a better place.
Yeah. And, you know, every decision that they make, all I can do is pray for them, because it's so hard, because you see people say nasty things.
Buddy, you
And,
better
you know,
believe it.
every decision you have to make is going to offend or upset someone. I mean, that's just the nature of the beast.
And it's hard to get away from that too. You know, you're not reading about it in some far-flung publication. You're staring them at the eye at the store,
Yeah.
or on the street, or
Yeah.
you know, at the winery, and you know that's, you know, putting yourself out there takes a lot of courage.
Yeah, it really does.
And because the world is nothing but haters, you know, nobody out there wants to be constructive. You know, nobody wants to talk through the issues. People are just ignorant, want to throw rocks at you.
They want an enemy.
They want an
Seems
enemy,
like-
they want to hate,
Yeah.
and so it takes a lot of courage these days to stand up for something you believe in, knowing that's coming.
Yeah.
I have a lot of admiration for everyone involved.
Yeah, so, sorry to kind of veer off, but
Vote
that's
for
been,
us.
That's been a big part of what's been going on in
Yeah, it
our
is.
town the last several weeks, and it culminated last night.
Yes.
And, you know, I was very fortunate to watch the results come in with a bunch of my dear friends last night, and there was a lot of celebration going on late night.
I rolled back into town late, and I was worried that I wasn't going to make it, and I did. I got back into town about 6:40. Didn't even go home. Went straight to my precinct. And you know, I mean, the polls are getting ready to close. Been a long day. Man, the place was packed.
Good.
You know, it was awesome, and you know, everyone I talked to, of course, walk in there. I know everybody. You know.
Oh, yeah.
Knew everybody and standing in line, you know, handing you the flyers, knew everybody inside. And
Yeah.
I mean, I was there it took me 3 minutes to vote. I was there for 40 minutes, just talking to everybody. And I ended up standing outside I voted at the Moravian church. And then just standing outside with the Campbells and a couple other people, and was just chatting. It was such a great atmosphere.
Yeah.
You know, people are so, the turnout was amazing, and everyone was talking about that. I just love to see. I think that's one of the advantages of having so many candidates too, because with that many candidates on all across the board, you know, there's hardly anyone left untouched.
Yeah.
You know, you just got a couple of people.
Right.
It's like, you know, their friends are all in. Everybody else is like, what?
Yeah.
So I mean, it was great. It was great to see that many people still out voting and talking and chatting. It was a great atmosphere.
Yeah. Yeah, they had really good early election percentages as well. So like 8 or 9%, which is a big chunk.
I think almost every candidate was there. I guess they will go from precinct to precinct. I pulled up and Nyland was pulling out. Teresa Lewis was there. Teresa Levia was there. Chad was there. Bill was there. I mean, like,
Yeah.
it was cool. It was, you know, tons of people. Sheriff Hyatt was there. And he was actually voting. You know, he wasn't campaigning when he was there. But anyway, it was great.
Yep. So, yeah, it's been a fun little time here in they used to call it Little Chicago, believe it or not, but
I believe it.
it's certainly not now.
No.
It's like the safest place
Mhm.
ever, except for a few things that you don't tie down might disappear. All right, so let's move on to the wine, and this is one of our favorites, Chef, the bang for the buck, Verano Estates. And
Toronto,
this-
driving the value train, town to town.
This is their Petit Syrah from their Heritage Collection, and this is where they just kind of, you know, really hone in on single varietals and what they consider kind of the classic original varietals that were grown in California back in the day when it was really getting, you know, started in the 1800s, where there was a lot of these. Well, heck, back then it was mostly field blends. There was not a lot of separation of the varietals in the rows or in the lots, and oftentimes you know they were picking, you know, 3 or 4 varietals at once and didn't really care. And this is kind of peeling back in each varietal from that era, which I think is great because that original field blend style really defined, the palates of that time. And, and of course, you look at the modern day version of it, the Prisoner, which obviously the wines did not taste like that back then, but that red
The approach, the styles is similar.
That red blend style, with those Zins and Petit Syrahs and Petit Verdots and things of that nature. It's just great to have that, ever-growing history. We're as Americans, we're basically new to the game, and it's just nice to have some heritage. And so this is a line that we've been enjoying it for several years now.
Oh, goodness gracious, yeah. I mean, and they've been at it forever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Quality every year, value every year. You just can't beat it.
Mm-hmm.
Cannot beat it.
Well, not surprisingly, Petit Syrah. I was talking about Verdot earlier. Petit Syrah is not petite. I mean, the grape is small, and that's why it's called Petit Syrah. Smaller than the standard Syrah grape. But the petite, think about it, the smaller the grape, the more skin to juice ratio. So you have a dark skinned grape that is a small berry. That means there's going to be more richness, tannins, color, because there's more skin per drop of juice ratio. So that's why Petit Syrahs are anything but petite in flavor. They really do pack a punch, and even at this kind of value level, where you're buying a $15 bottle of wine, it is it really brings the thunder, if you will.
Yeah, it sure does. What's great too is even at these price points, you don't lack for, not just the quality, but it's got depth and character.
Sure.
And it's more than just the quality of the vines and the fruit. It's well made.
Absolutely. So yeah, you're gonna get your fruit. You get a ton of dryness, really developing tannins. It's just a really nice, what I would say, Tuesday night wine, but it could certainly be a weekend wine as well.
Yes, and I know to me sometimes some petites can get kind of wild. It can be overly jammy. You can kind of go left or right pretty hard one way or the other. Always balanced, Purano. They really make their petites very, very structured to where they're not all over the palate. They're always just a great quality wine.
Chef, what are you going to throw at this?
I've been a big homer here lately, but I did get in the Barely Buzzed.
From Utah?
So I've been in Utah.
Yeah.
So, obviously they're known for their aged cheddars. That's all they do is aged cheddars. But, there's a reason they do them very, very, very well. And this is rubbed with tea leaves, kind of like a Dijarling, a black tea, a little bit of espresso and lavender. So character and spice on this aged cheddar. I think it's going to go great with the spice and the richness of this petite. So we're happy to have them back in the house. Not that we just love cheese. We love cheese from all over the world. We love being homers too, but gotta love the Utah cheeses.
We like all the things, and we're always supportive of local, but we're also supportive of flavor.
Well, there's a reason we have local wineries. We enjoy a good view from the backs of all the people that came before us. We need to honor the people that taught us. So we can't be strict homers. We need to kind of spread it around, because we certainly want to acknowledge and appreciate everything that they've done to get everyone that was around here where they are.
That's right. That's right. So two wonderful reds here, very indicative of the varietal. We have one that's kind of in a different place, varietal, and then of course California style, big, fruity, intense, kind of more tame to what you'd expect from Chile out of the Carmenere. So these are really great, what I would consider study wines, just to kind of know
great word.
how this grape shows in these areas. And I think that's very, very important as we go through all the wines of the world. Just really just separating them out and seeing why they're special and how to identify them and what to expect from them. So if you're looking for a certain style, these styles, and if that's what you want, this style, you know how to go get it.
Absolutely, and these are fun to study.
Yes, they are.
These aren't. You don't have to. You're not going to get geeked out on technicality. I mean, they're just fun, regional, big, great stories, like you would be reading a novel. Not, it's not data driven. It's fun.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you can make your own stories while you enjoy some of these
Absolutely,
bottles
the best stories are made.
That's right. And when you can make it to the chef's table or make it to a Thursday night, we'd love to have you. We've got a lot of caterings coming up, and if that's something that we can do for you, we'd love to help you there too. And meanwhile, cheers, everybody. We hope to see you soon. And till next week.
Take care. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thanks for your support. Take care.